Hi, I'm Jeff, and today we're going to walk through how to fill out Form VA 21-526EZ, the application for disability compensation and related benefits. This form is your gateway to receiving the benefits you've earned through your service. Did you know that your initial claim could be worth as much as $100,000 or more, depending on your disability rating? That's why it's so important to fill out this form correctly and completely. Let's get started. Filing a VA disability claim is one of the most important steps you can take to secure your financial and medical future. This form helps the VA understand your service-connected disabilities and determine the compensation you're entitled to. By filling it out accurately, you're ensuring that your claim is processed quickly and that you receive the maximum benefits you deserve. Let's take a look at the form itself. We'll start on page 9, which is the application section. This is where you'll provide all the necessary information about your claim. I'll walk you through each section, explain what to put where, and why it's important. We'll also refer back to the instructions on page 2 when needed. Let's start with box 1, type of claim. Here, you'll indicate what kind of claim you're submitting. You have several options. On VA Form 21-526EZ, Item 1 prompts you to select the type of claim process you wish to use. The available options are Fully Developed Claim FDC Program, Integrated Disability Evaluation System, IDs Program, Benefits Delivery at Discharge, BDD Program, Standard Claim Process. Here's an overview of each option. 1. Fully Developed Claim, FDC. Program. The FDC program is an optional expedited process designed for veterans who can submit all relevant evidence at the time of their claim. To participate, you must submit a completed VA Form Z21-526EZ, YVA 21-526EZ, identify any relevant treatment records available at federal facilities, such as VA medical centers. Attend any VA medical examinations deemed necessary. By providing all necessary documentation up front, the VA can process your claim more quickly. If additional evidence is needed after submission, your claim will transition to the standard claim process without penalty. Why is this important? Choosing the correct type of claim ensures your application is processed correctly and avoids delays. For demonstration purposes, let's check the box for standard claim process. Next, we have Section 1, Veterans Information. This is where you'll enter your personal details like your full name, social security number, and date of birth. Make sure this information matches your official records to avoid any issues. For example, let's type John Doe for the name, 123456789. For the Social Security number. We will select No in Box 4, stating that we have never filed a claim with the VA before. And for Box 5, which is the VA file number, this is also called the VA claim number. This is usually the veteran's Social Security number without the dashes. It is okay to leave this section blank if you have already provided the veteran's Social Security number. In some situations, however, a separate claim number may have been assigned. Since VA only started using the veteran's Social Security numbers as the file number in the mid-1970s, a veteran who filed a claim before that time may have received an arbitrary number as the file number. Now let's put 01/01/1970 for the date of birth in Box 6. This section is crucial because it identifies you as the claimant. Box 7 requests your service number if applicable. Depending on your era of service, your service number might be the same as your Social Security number. We will leave this section blank. Box 8 is for BDD claims only. If you are filing a BDD claim, please provide the anticipated date of release from active duty. We will leave this section blank. Box 9, 10, and 11 is for your contact information. This includes your mailing address, phone number, and email address. The VA will use this information to communicate with you about your claim, so double-check that it's accurate. Let's type 555-123-4567 for the phone number, and 123 Main Street, Anytown, OHUS for the address, and john.doe@email.com for the email. Providing an email address is especially helpful because it allows the VA to send you updates faster. If you are homeless or at risk of homelessness, fill out this section. Otherwise, skip it. Box 14A. Are you homeless? Check yes or no. I'll check no. Box 14C. At risk of homelessness? Check yes or no. I'll check no. Should only be completed if you are currently homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. If this item does not apply to you, skip to Section 4. Box 15A. Asks if you are claiming any conditions related to toxic exposures. Note: please see page 4 of the instructions for further information on the evidence needed to support your claim for presumptive service connection. You can also refer to the following websites for more information on the PACT Act: https www.va.gov, PACT. Before we proceed, let's explain what are presumptive conditions. To get a VA disability rating, your disability must connect to your military service. For many health conditions, you need to prove that your service caused your condition. But for some conditions, we automatically assume or presume that your service caused your condition. We call these presumptive conditions. The information on page 4 provides more details about presumptive conditions. Now let's take a closer look at VA presumptive conditions, what they are, why they matter, and how they can benefit you as a veteran applying for disability compensation. If you've served in the military and have certain health conditions, you may be eligible for benefits without needing to prove a direct service connection. Let's break it down. Normally, when you file a VA disability claim, you need to provide medical evidence linking your condition to your military service. However, with presumptive conditions, the VA automatically assumes that certain illnesses were caused by service. This means you don't have to prove it. There are specific groups of veterans who qualify for presumptive conditions based on their service history, such as veterans exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam or certain other locations, Gulf War veterans exposed to environmental hazards, former prisoners of war, POWs, atomic veterans exposed to radiation, veterans who served in specific locations like Camp Lejeune and were exposed to contaminated water. Some of the most common presumptive conditions include Agent Orange exposure, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, certain cancers, and ischemic heart disease, Gulf War illness, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and respiratory disorders, radiation exposure, certain types of leukemia and cancers, Camp Lejeune, water contamination, bladder cancer, kidney disease, and liver cancer. If you have any of these conditions and meet the eligibility criteria, the VA presumes they are service-connected. If you believe you qualify for a presumptive condition, here's how to apply. Gather medical records. Have documentation of your diagnosis and treatment. Confirm your service history. Ensure your service records reflect the locations and timeframes required for presumptive conditions. File a claim. Submit VA Form 21-526Es online at va.gov, by mail, or in person at a VA office. Attend a VA exam. If required, attend a compensation and pension (C&P) exam to evaluate your condition. If approved, you could receive monthly disability compensation and access to VA healthcare services. Let's select yes that you are claiming conditions related to toxic exposure. In Box 15B, we will select yes that you did. You serve in Gulf War hazard locations, and please add dates as shown. In Box 15C, we will select yes that you served in any of the following HRBIC-D locations. We will list Guam as the location and put in the selected dates as shown. For Box 15D, we will check the box for being exposed to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune between 1980 and 1983. We will also check the other box and list burn pit exposure in Iraq from 2005-2006 type of exposure. Burn pit exposure. Location of exposure: Baghdad, Iraq. Dates of exposure: March 2005, September 2006. Description of exposure: while deployed in Baghdad, I was stationed near an active burn pit, regularly inhaling smoke from burning waste materials, plastics, and chemicals. Related symptoms or conditions: chronic respiratory issues, shortness of breath, and persistent coughing diagnosed post-deployment. Now let's go through Section 5 of VA Form 21-526EZ, which is the Claim Information section. This is where you list the disabilities you are claiming for VA disability compensation. I'll explain each part and provide sample entries so you can see how it's done. Let's get started. This section is crucial because it tells the VA what conditions you're claiming and why you believe they're related to your military service. Make sure to be as detailed as possible while keeping your responses clear and concise. The table in Section 5 has 4 main columns: disability name, example of exposure type, examples of how the disability relates to service, and date disability began. Let's go through each one. Column 1, name of disability. In this column, you should list each disability you are claiming. Be specific. For example, lower back pain, degenerative disc disease, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, tinnitus, ringing in ears. Column 2. Example of exposure. Type. Here, indicate what type of exposure or incident may have caused or contributed to your disability. Examples include combat injuries, hazardous materials, burn pits, loud noises, or contaminated water. Example: lower back pain, heavy lifting and high-impact physical activities during deployments. PTSD, direct exposure to combat and traumatic events in Afghanistan. Tinnitus, continuous exposure to loud gunfire and explosions without adequate hearing protection. Column 3. Examples of how the disability relates to service. This is where you explain why you believe the condition is service-connected. Provide relevant details, such as incidents that occurred, diagnoses from military or VA doctors, or supporting documents. Example: lower back pain, developed from repeated heavy lifting and physical strain during deployment in Iraq, diagnosed by military doctors in 2006. PTSD, experienced traumatic events during combat in Afghanistan. Received treatment and diagnosis from VA hospital in 2012. Tinnitus, exposed to loud gunfire and explosions during combat missions, diagnosed by VA audiologist in 2010. Column 4. Date disability began. Here, write the approximate date when your disability started. If you don't know the exact date, provide the best estimate based on when symptoms began or when you were diagnosed. Example: lower back pain, 06-15-2005, PTSD, 03-10-2010, tinnitus, 07-20-2008. If you have more disabilities than the table allows, don't worry. You can attach additional pages with the same format to include all your conditions. Just be sure to label them clearly. Before moving on, review your entries to ensure everything is accurate. Double-check dates, exposure types, and explanations. Providing clear and precise information helps the VA process your claim more efficiently. And that's it. Completing Section 5 correctly is key to making a strong case for your VA disability claim. If you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to a Veteran Service Officer, VSO, or the VA for guidance. Now let's look at number 17 in this section, is where you list the VA Medical Centers, VAMC, and Department of Defense, DoD, Military Treatment Facilities, MTF, where you receive treatment after discharge for the disabilities you listed in Section 5. Providing accurate information here is crucial for the VA to retrieve your medical records and support your claim. Let's go step by step. In this section, you need to provide the names of medical facilities where you were treated after discharge for your claimed disabilities. You will also need to provide an approximate date when your treatment began. If you received care at multiple locations, list each one. If you need more space, you can attach an additional sheet with your name, social security number, and the item number clearly labeled. Let's go ahead and fill this section out with sample data so you can see how it's done. Column 1. Name of VA Medical Center, VAMC, or Military Treatment Facility, MTF. Here, write the full name of the facility where you received treatment. For example, Walter Reed Medical Center, Maryland VA Medical Center, Houston, Texas, Fort Bragg, Womack Army Medical Center. Column 2. Approximate beginning date of treatment, month and year. You'll need to enter the month and year you first received treatment for your claimed disability at this facility. If you don't know the exact month, estimate to the best of your ability. Examples: Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, June 2010. VA Medical Center, Houston, TX, March 2015. Fort Bragg Womack Army Medical Center, September 2008. If you receive treatment at multiple locations and need more space, you can attach a separate sheet of paper. Be sure to include your name, social security number, and clearly label it as an addition to Section 5. This ensures the VA can properly link your information to your claim. I'm going to walk you through Sections 6 through 9 of the VA Form 21-526E. These sections are super important because they cover your military service details, any military pay you're receiving, direct deposit info, and, most importantly, your signature to certify your claim. I'll explain everything in a simple, easy-to-follow way and throw in some examples so you can see exactly what to put in each box. Let's dive in. All right, first up is Section 6, where you'll enter details about your military service. This is where you let the VA know where and when you served. So let's go box by box. Box 18A and 18B. Did you serve under another name? If you ever used a different name while serving, maybe you got married and changed your last name, check yes and write it down. Otherwise, check no and move on. Example: yes, served under John Doe, before name change to John Smith. Box 19A and 19B. Branch of service and component. Pretty straightforward. Just pick your branch of service, Army, Navy, etc., and whether you were active duty, reserve, or National Guard. Example: U.S. Army active duty. Box 20A, 20D, recent service details. Now, enter the dates of your most recent active duty service and where you separated from the military. Example: entry date 0/101/2000, exit date 0/101/2004. Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 21A, 21F, Section 7, service pay. If you were in the reserves or National Guard, you'll need to list your unit details and whether you're still serving. Example: Army Reserves, 445th Medical Battalion, obligated for 8 years. Box 22A, 22C. Are you currently activated? If you're currently on federal orders, check yes and enter the activation details. Otherwise, check no. Box 23A and 23B. Were you a prisoner of war? If you were ever a POW, check yes and provide the dates. If not, check no. This is where you tell the VA if you're receiving any military retired pay, separation pay, or disability severance pay. Box 24A, 24D. Military retired pay. If you get military retired pay, check yes and enter the branch and how much you receive monthly. Example: yes, U.S. Air Force, $2,500 month. Box 25, retired status. If you're retired due to a disability, check either Permanent Disability Retired List, PDRL, or Temporary Disability Retired List, TDRL. Box 26, waiving retired pay for VA compensation. Now here's something to think about. If you don't want to waive any retired pay in exchange for VA benefits, check this box. Otherwise, leave it blank. Box 27A, 27D, separation pay or severance pay. If you received a lump sum when you separated, list the amount, date, and branch of service. Example: $50,000 separation pay, 7/1/2015, U.S. Navy. Box 28, training pay. If you got training pay while in the reserves, you'll need to waive VA benefits for those days. All right, now let's get to the money part. Where do you want your VA payments to go? This section is all about direct deposit. Box 29, no bank account? If you don't have a bank account, check this box and the VA will work with you to find a payment solution. Box 30, checking or savings. Pick checking or savings wherever you want your money to go. Box 31, name of financial institution. Example: Wells Fargo Bank. Box 32, routing number. Example: 123456789. Box 33, account number. Example: 987654321. Last step, signing the form. This is where you officially certify that all the information you provided is true. Box 33A, signature. Sign your name just like you would on any official document. Box 33B, date signed. Example: 2/8/2025. Boxes 34A, 36B, witnesses, if signed with an X. If you're unable to physically sign and need to use an X instead, 2 witnesses must sign and provide their printed names and addresses. You've now learned how to fill out Form VA 526EZ step by step. By following this guide, you're taking a crucial step towards securing the benefits you've earned. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your local VA office or a veterans service organization. Thanks for watching and best of luck with your claim.